Haymaker Coffee Company was established in 2021 to create the best coffee to fuel the underdogs who perseveres, who hustles, and have the give-it-all mentality to achieve their American dream. Haymaker Coffee only roasts top quality, specialty grade coffee beans, resulting in brews that satisfies those who demand every drop from their coffee and day. If you work hard, run hard, fight hard, and play hard, we have your coffee right here.
And we're back, Stripe Show podcast on a special Friday edition, November 11th, 2022. Happy Veterans Day, everybody out there. I'm your host, Travis Fulton. Thank you for taking some time to stop in here and join us on the Stripe Show podcast. We've had a terrific week, and we're going to end the week here with a special interview coming up with someone that I am just pleased and so excited that took the time here to join us, Mr. Bob Parsons, PXG founder and CEO, and also, as many of you know, U.S. Marine Corps Vietnam War veteran. You're not going to want to miss that. Bob is a terrific listen, and I know we'll have a tremendous message for all of us as we honor our veterans here today, our active military across the country. I would just like to extend a heartfelt thank you to all of you for everything that you've done for us, for allowing me to sit here today in front of this beautiful About Golf simulator behind me, to be a part of this terrific PXG team, Glenn Fittich, Haymaker Coffee, and of course, ViStar Credit Union, which we've been honoring veterans on the Stripe Show podcast, as you know, with the help of ViStar, with the ViStar moment now over the last month. And today we have to honor more, right? And all of these entries that are coming in, it is awesome. Thank you to everybody out there. If you don't know about this, I have teamed up with ViStar Credit Union, and we are doing something that is called Honor Your Heroes. They are doing it. I'm just actively participating in it and trying to spread the message out there to honor your hero. And what you can do is you can go to my website, travisfultongolf.com, and click on the partners page. You'll see ViStar. Click on learn more, and then it'll tell you everything you need to know right there, where you can nominate your hero that is currently serving in the military today or is a veteran today. We want to know who he is. We want to know his story. And then we want to give them some things. There's an active giveaway happening right now with ViStar Credit Union. There's all kinds of prizes, including lessons with me, in person, online, as well as PXG club fittings, which is very cool to see all of this come full circle today. So let's honor some heroes today before we bring Mr. Parsons in. And I want to start with Austin Aldrich, and it comes from Kelsey, his wife. Austin works hard every day to support our family. He continues to serve his country in the United States military, in the USMC reserves. He has been so supportive of me throughout our first pregnancy. Baby girl's due November 12th. Congratulations. And I know he'll be an amazing father. There's Austin right there. Thank you, Austin. To you. Let's go to the next one here. This is Byron Rowe. This comes from Javaris. Byron is my father-in-law. He served 26 years in the Navy. After retiring, he took a job as the outreach coordinator for Veteran Affairs. He also serves as a speaker for Returning Warrior Workshop, where he helps returning warriors get back acclimated to the civilian life by sharing his struggles and mistakes and provided ways to avoid the mistakes he made. Byron is very committed to his church, family, and community. Thank you, Byron. I'd like to do one more here. This is Robert Rosie Roselle. Love it. Comes from Megan. Robert Rosie Roselle deserves to be honored for his dedicating his life to the U.S. Navy. He served for 20 years and still works on Mayport Naval Station even after retiring. He served his country proud and continued to be an active father and husband. Robert has been and continues to be a very selfless man, and he will give anyone the shirt off his back if they need it. He definitely is my hero, and I'd love to honor him with this surprise. Very cool. Megan. Thank you for that. And thank you, Robert, Rosie, Rizal. We call it the ViStar moment. We do it every week here on the Stripe Show podcast. But it was fitting today. We had to do more. I wanted to honor 3 more. There's more. Go nominate them. We will be doing this every single week. Go to my website, travisfultongolf.com. Click on the partners page, ViStar Credit Union. You'll see learn more. Go there. It's also on my Instagram link. You can go to ViStar Credit Union as well. Look for Honor Your Hero and nominate them. And they're going to be giving some really cool prizes. And at the very least, we will be recognizing them as we did those 3 people right there. On that note, let's bring in our guest here. He is the PXG founder and CEO, U.S. Marine Corps Vietnam War veteran. He is the recipient of the Purple Heart Medal, Combat Action Ribbon, and Vietnamese Cross of Gallantry. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bob Parsons.
PXG has done it again with the launch of a new lineup of drivers, fairways, hybrids, and irons. The new Gen 5 golf clubs deliver significantly increased MOI, faster ball speeds, longer distances, and tighter dispersions, all coupled with the exceptional feel and sound golfers have come to expect from PXG. Schedule your custom fitting or buy online at pxg.com.
And joining me now, Mr. Bob Parsons himself. Thank you so much for taking the time and allow me to thank you for your service as well. How are you?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm just fine. And, I served in the Vietnam War. And, I talked to many of my buddies, who were over there with me. And they all tell me the same thing. They say, we'd do it again. But coming home, boy, that was the hard part.
Yeah. Well, I've followed your story, and there's a link, a video that you put together. I believe it was last year, and you ran it again this year. And I'm going to send it out on the podcast and on my social platforms. And you were unfortunately at that time, Bob, when you guys came back and all the anti-war things that were going on, you guys were not welcome with open arms, when you came back, right? I mean, you guys decided to come back in your suits, but you weren't welcome with open arms because of all the protesting that was going on at that time.
Well, it was, it's just hard to even convey, the shock of how, many of us were greeted. And, if we weren't greeted then, we seen it on television that night, and the next day and the next day and the next day. It was something. I mean, they were protesters carrying signs calling us Nazis, war criminals, drug
Yes.
addicts, murderers, and of course, you can't leave out baby killers.
Mm.
That was there, and it's just like, I mean, we thought we did something, and evidently the country didn't think so, and to this day, as far as we're concerned, we're the only troops that have never been welcomed home.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Veterans Day, of course, today, November 11th, but it's also the birthday of the U.S. Marine Corps, which you served in. 247th birthday, I believe, is what it is. As you get your day started, Bob, today on Veterans Day, and you anticipate, what your thoughts and your feelings, might be today as you look back on the memories and the experiences, what's going to go through your mind today that you anticipate on such a memorable Veterans Day and the birthday of the U.S. Marine Corps?
Well, I have a mixed basket of thoughts. Uh, Far and away, they're more positive than negative. When I was a kid, I was a terrible student, terrible student. Every year, whether I passed or failed, photo finish, Travis, and I failed the 5th grade, but didn't have to repeat it because of a fluke, and so I was able to go into the 6th grade with about 4th grade skills. Nobody could ever take that away from me.
Mm-hmm.
So when I went into the Marine Corps, I joined when I was 17, and I got to tell you, they turned me around completely,
Mm.
because when I got out, I was a different guy, and I was a different guy in good ways and in bad, and the good ways were, um, I worked a year at a steel mill as a laborer when I came back, because I tell you, brother, I came from nothing.
Hmm.
And so anyhow, I did that. Then I seen an ad from the University of Baltimore, a special thing for veterans to attend. Didn't have to take the entrance exams. High school grades didn't matter as long as you had a GED or you graduated from high school, which I did.
Mhm.
And uh, so I went there and I studied accounting and I graduated magna cum laude.
Hmm.
And then I took the CPA exam, passed it the first time, um, taught myself how to program a computer from a book I bought at the bookstore on the Stanford campus. This was back in 1975.
Hmm.
Wrote the software for my first startup. Um, and everything I'd have done none of that without the Marine Corps. So the Marine Corps, they taught me discipline. They taught me that responsibility sacred, that I could do more than I ever dreamed possible, and that I had a right to be proud, and all that stuff really resonated with me, and I was a different guy,
Mhm.
and so and that was the good. The bad was, I had a hell of a case of PTSD,
Mhm.
and I didn't get that dealt with until not 2018, which had been 49 years since the war.
Mm.
And I did it with psychedelics and therapy. And 49 years, I finally came home.
Wow. What do you PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder? A lot of people listening here, maybe some military. I live in just outside of Jacksonville, and this is a big military city here. 2 Navy bases. There's a lot going on here in the way of military. PTSD. What would your message be to men and women that do come home in the military, but even just family members, friends listening right now that may suspect that PTSD is present in someone that they love and they want to help them? What would your message be to them?
Well, my message would be, if you look at that video that we sent out that
Mhm.
uh, for the Marine Corps birthday, and it deals pretty much totally with PTSD.
Mhm.
And on that is a phone number for the Semper Fi Fund and the Americas Fund. It also goes by thefund.org. Go to that website. They got a number for help for PTSD. Dial it. But the trick is, the problem is, a lot of veterans that have PTSD don't even realize it. But I'll tell you who does realize it is the people that they live with. They know.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, you see the human brain, one of the cruelest tricks of all is it normalizes whatever's going on with the individual, so it hides its faults. So it's very unusual for a person with PTSD to realize they got it unless they've been going through some like extreme, a lot of times it revolves around individual losing his or her temper.
Mhm.
That's a certain flag, and uh, being less social, being intense, not being able to relax, can't sleep. Um, I mean, all sorts of never feeling like they belong when they're with a group, or even if that they want to belong.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, the people with them that live with them, their family and their friends, they know.
Yeah, they know. What are you the most proud of, Bob, when you look at your involvement in the military? I mean, the military has been part of your entire life, not just from your active duty, as we talked about in the U.S. Marine Corps and Vietnam, but also since that point, you have done so much for the military, the Bob and Renee Foundation. The amount of money that you donate to charities is incredible. The impact that you have. Two of those that are part of the college showcase, which I'm coming out for to Scottsdale National on Sunday, is the Semper Fi America's Fund in Mount Sinai.
Yeah.
What are you the most proud of it? Is it all of it, or are there one or two things that really stand out for you, and just when you look back on the impact that you've had on so many people's life in the military?
You know, I used to say that I was, we have good days and bad days and that
Mhm.
sort of thing, and I am just proud every time I run into a veteran and I can help that individual.
Mhm.
That is the thing that just puts me over the moon. And just hearing the results, and and it's not always just veterans. I mean, a lot of times NFL players, individuals that
Mm.
had a rough life, on and on and on. But the deal with veterans, I know if it's a veteran in a combat situation, now the Veterans Administration will tell you 30% have PTSD. I will say that's probably 30% have really significant PTSD. All of them have it. I mean, I don't think it's possible to go through that. Just knowing what I've learned about human biology, to not have it. So you've been in a combat situation. I don't care what you think. You have PTSD,
Mm.
and again, your family will confirm that. And then that being the case, it's never too late to get treated for it
Mhm.
because you always have the rest of your life left.
Yeah.
And if you don't do it for yourself, you do it for your family and you do it for your fellow veterans.
Mm. And that's when you truly, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I watched your video, that link is, and we'll send it out, is that's when you truly come home, right? Is when you hit that head on.
Well, the reason is because, the individual that left for Vietnam, the me that left, right? I mean, he was a happy guy,
Mhm.
not too responsible, but he was certainly was a happy guy. Liked being around other people, liked having fun, up for anything, and that's not the guy that came home. I mean, the guy that came home was described as the most intense person anybody had ever met.
Mm.
For sure, the PTSD I had cost me two marriages. Right, I just was not an easy guy to live with. One of my regrets was because the way I got through this, I buried myself in my work.
Mm.
And I used to work 60-hour clips. And by that, I mean, let's say I start Monday morning at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'd work through straight without break to Tuesday at 8 a.m., Wednesday at 8 a.m. Then about Wednesday night at 8 p.m., I start to hallucinate. And I
Mm.
knew I had to stop. And then I'd go, get some sleep, a shower, and do it again.
Mm.
Uh, but the whole the whole deal with that is I was working so much, I missed most of my kids' childhood, right? But when I think about it, as bad as I had PTSD with my temper and so forth, the sad thing is it's a good thing I wasn't around.
Mm.
So I mean, and that's the quandary that many veterans that suffer from this, find themselves in. And to be honest with you, it's not in their control. They say, I don't know why I lose my temper over such minuscule stuff, shit that don't matter.
Mhm.
And and they resolve not to not do it again, but yet their body and their subconscious takes over, and that's behind the driver's seat. And so, but the cure for all this, the cure is psychedelics,
Mm.
and psychedelics coupled with therapy. And
Okay.
and the way I say that, the therapy does the healing. The psychedelics make it possible.
Wow.
Yeah. And we are, thanks to Rick Doblin and MAPS and other organizations, we are whisker close to getting MDMA approved by the FDA for therapeutic use. And what we found is the majority of veterans with severe PTSD are completely cured. Get ready for this, in 3 counseling sessions.
Wow. Wow. That's goosebumps just thinking about that. That is amazing.
It's a game changer.
It's a
Now,
game changer.
Now, if for people that want to do something about it, veterans who want to do something about it, now there's a thing called an SGB block. Are you familiar with it?
No.
It's a stellate ganglion block. It's been around forever. And what happens is the cliff notes is PTSD is caused by the part of our front brain called the amygdala.
Mm-hmm.
And the amygdala controls fight or flight and emotions. And from having these repeated fight or flight high, just high energy situations, what happens is every time that happens, the amygdala takes and it releases adrenaline and epinephrine, speeds up the heart rate, dilates the lungs, takes the arteries and so forth in the extremities and tightens them, brings it back to the core. Does all those things, and the individual can react to the situation. All right. Now, you would think that after that situation's over, it would return to full relaxation. What happens is it returns to somewhere between full relaxation and full fight or flight. And then as these events happen again and again and again, it stays almost in, it gets close to where the individual's almost in full fight or flight all the time. And so they're on edge tremendously, as you can imagine. And because of the brain, it normalizing it, they don't know it until a trigger hits and then they explode. You see?
Mm-hmm.
Now, what the SGB block does is the amygdala communicates through the body, through the stellate ganglion nerves in the neck, and with what happens is when an SGB block is done, individual goes in, a medical doctor will take and shoot the big brother to a numbing agent and into the side of the neck next to the stellate ganglion nerves, and it numbs it. And when it numbs it, it goes offline. And when it goes offline, the amygdala goes offline. It shuts down like unplugging a computer.
Hmm.
All right. Now, when it unplugs, when that happens, the individual's eyes a little droopy. They talk like a sailor because they're, the numbing agent, kind of numbs those nerves too. And after a couple hours go by, and the numbing agent wears off, and the amygdala reconnects. Miracle of miracles, it reboots like a computer reboots and moves that marker all the way back towards relaxation. And the individual will notice a tremendous feeling right out of the gate, and their family notices, their friends notice, they sleep better, they don't lose their temper because they're finally in control.
Yeah.
And now, where to get them for your listeners? The SGB block is called a stellate ganglion block. There is a company now that is doing it. It has centers throughout the country, and it's called Stella Centers. Stella Centers.
Okay.
And just look it up on the internet. And I'm telling you, I've put at least 150 people through it. There's no downsides that I know of, except for one thing. There's one downside, is that with a veteran, you may have to get it done again in 6 months to a year, or maybe 2 years. It just depends.
Mm-hmm.
It's not permanent. Now the psychedelics, that's permanent.
Yep.
But as far as the substitute that's legal and available, this is just a great one, and I cannot recommend it enough. I've had it done 4 times.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, let me try to transition that for a moment, because I know you're a busy man, and I want to talk to you about PXG as well. I've been part of your team for the last couple years and have been coming out to your Scottsdale National for the last, this will be my third coming out, the PXG College Showcase, which is a really cool event with the top collegiate players coming in, and we compete, and they run it on Golf Channel in September. It's another $1 million raised by Bob and Renee Parsons Foundation, goes to Team Semper Fi, America's Fund, Mount Sinai. So I'm looking forward to getting out to that. But I got to tell you, Bob, since I've built this studio in here, and I hope to show you all one day, Leela's been here, and she was just out here for the women's match play, which was really cool down at the World Golf Village that PXG sponsors as well. We've been doing fittings out of my studio with your team over here, and it's going fantastic. The Gen 5, Bob, is incredible. The 0311, the Gen 5 irons, the hybrids, the woods, everything is fantastic. We've probably sold, I've had this open now for, 6 months, and we've probably sold 25, 30 full bags out of here when the guys come through and fit. And every one of them loves them. And I got to tell you also, you know what they also love, Bob, is what you're doing with the putter. Like they're loving the new putter too. My bat attack and all of those. So look, congratulations. I know PXG is doing great, but you all nailed it with the Gen 5. The Gen 5 is fantastic.
Well, we work pretty hard to get to where we are with Gen 5. As you remember that Gen 4 was nothing to sneeze at.
No.
And I mean, they have some outstanding clubs.
Right.
And engineers kept saying to me, "How are we going to make these any better?" I said, "Well, the first thing you're going to do is work on it." And and if somebody says they can't do something, I always tell them, when you say you can't do it, you're right.
Right. Yeah.
So we don't have that kind of language, and our goal is we get a kick at it finding better and new technology, and we work really hard at that, and that's really what we live for. And so we found it with Gen 5, and boy, and just the looks of it. I mean,
Yeah,
the Gen 5 irons are beautiful.
They are. Yeah,
So-
they're fantastic. The new wedges are fantastic. Yeah, you're all doing great work. I know the clothing line, Renee and what she's doing, the Nick Jonas line's coming out soon here in the next couple days. So PXG is just in all capacity is doing great work, and I'm honored to be a part of it. The last thing I want to say, the PXG for Heroes program that you do, it's big here. It's starting to take off with all the military here. It's special pricing for all military veterans, first responders. It's cool stuff that they can come and be a part of PXG at special pricing. And just know that they're very appreciative here in the greater Jacksonville area on that, because like I said, there's a lot of military here, and they're loving the PXG.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's our absolute honor, and I'll tell you what, there's nothing more I like than having those guys as customers. It is just special, and especially it's nice to be able to give them a break.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I know you're busy. I appreciate your time, and thank you for your service. Thank you for everything that you've done for so many veterans and myself. I'm honored to be a part of the team at PXG, and I'll see you in a couple days for the showcase.
All right. Can I say a few things in closing?
Yeah, please.
All right. First of all, we sure appreciate you, Travis. So, you keep on keeping on and don't change a bit. All right.
All right. Thank you.
The next thing is, today being Veterans Day, I have a special message to veterans everywhere from all of us who served in the Vietnam War. Thanks for all you did. Welcome home.
All right. Thank you so much. Bob Parsons, founder, CEO of PXG, and U.S. Marine Corps veteran.
PXG has done it again with the launch of a new lineup of drivers, fairways, hybrids, and irons. The new Gen 5 golf clubs deliver significantly increased MOI, faster ball speeds, longer distances, and tighter dispersions, all coupled with the exceptional feel and sound golfers have come to expect from PXG. Schedule your custom fitting or buy online at pxg.com.